June 20th. Fear was a daily part of my experience of alcoholism, and I learned certain ways to cope with it. I often catch myself reacting to my fears in the same way today, even though my circumstances have changed. For example, I often keep quiet when confronted instead of speaking my mind. This might be a legitimate response, except that I don't consciously make the choice. This is not responding, it's reacting. Giving up my self-respect out of fear and out of habit. My best alternative is to admit that I have a problem, accept my reactions, and turn them over to my higher power. I've often heard that courage is fear that has said its prayers. I must recognize my fear. I must say those prayers, and I must have faith as I wait for healing. In the meantime, there are important ways in which I can help myself. The first step in learning to respond more effectively to others is to learn to respond more effectively to myself. I can learn to respond with love, caring, and respect for myself, even for those parts of me that experience fear, confusion, and anger. Today's reminder says, today I'll try to become more aware of alternatives that I just haven't recognized yet. Okay, so I was talking about this yesterday. Maybe it was the day before, maybe last night, I don't know. But I think it was yesterday I posted something about responding and reacting. And I think that's really, fear was part of my daily experience. When you live with an alcoholic addict, underlying fear is really, it just drives you, right? So because of the fear, you want some kind of control, some kind of power, right? And so you start quickly responding and reacting. You almost become hyper vigilant, right, to reaction. You react too quickly. It's almost like a person that's been through some kind of trauma or an accident. And, the guys that used to, they get out of the war and someone would drop a pan and the sound would they were just so affected, right? And I think that's what happens. We become neurotic. When you're living around an alcoholic addict, you question everything, right? Thank you, Susan. I'm doing better, thanks. When you're living around an alcoholic and addict, you become so hypervigilant. You become so tuned in. It's almost like you have another sensory, of perception, right? You're listening for that tone in their voice. You're watching for some kind of an action you've seen before. You are so afraid that they are not only drinking and using, but they're lying to you. The worst thing about this is that trust breaks and fear sets in. Are they lying to me? Are they going to hurt somebody? Are they going to die themselves? Are they stealing money out of my wallet? I think really one of the things I like to bring to the table that a lot of other people don't. I watch a lot of people's stuff. There's a lot of good information out there about recovery. But I'm talking about alcoholism. I want to talk about alcoholism. I want to talk about how the real truth about alcoholism. It can be dangerous. Now, if you're living with someone that's drinking and they're drinking a couple martinis after they get home from work, safely, sober, driving home, they come in, they have a few too many martinis, and you guys get in an argument, and that's upsetting you. I get it. But for the rest of us, this alcoholism, people are it's like Freddy Krueger, right? If you have a heroin addict in your life, if you have a meth addict in your life, if you have a cocaine addict in your life, if you have an alcoholic in your life, right? It's dangerous. They become dangerous people. The disease is if you can really understand that the disease is trying to kill them and you. That's what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with a little drinking problem. Those are heavy drinkers. right? That you go to some marriage counseling, figure that out. I'm talking about alcoholism here, right? If you're dealing with someone with alcoholism, they can be dangerous. Now, I shared this last week, and I talked to this woman a lot, and she's going to watch this, and I'm a big fan of hers. And she's an older woman, and she's been sober, I think, for 3 years now. But she has a grandson who is an addict, and he's scary. She loves her grandson, and she's just now found Al-Anon, and she's just now, after he stole money out of her account, after he stole checks, after he's deposited bad checks in her account to clear that now is she's responsible, after taking her TV and breaking in her house and threatening her. It's scary. It's scary. There is fear. There is fear in this, right? Now I'm reading this. They always lie, especially if they're not sober. Yeah, I no longer ask how she's doing. That's right. If you ask them how they're doing, they're going to lie. If you ask them if they need something, you know what I mean? It's all lies. Actions, and really this fear that comes from being around someone like that, it makes you hypervigilant. It makes you oversensitive, and you become almost like it's a trauma. Someone asked me last night, I posted something about alcoholism being a family disease last night, and someone said, the whole family's sick or just the alcoholic? And I said, the whole family can be sick. The whole family is affected. Now, you might think, well, I don't know about that. But my experience is I have seen kids. I've worked with families where they've had a couple kids that were not the alcoholic addicts. And they are pretty on, like they've been going to Al-Anon or something. They don't want to put up with it. They don't want to hear about it. They're going to football practice, then they're going to go to college, and they want to live their life. And they think the way you're handling the other kid is ridiculous. Right? They're still affected. They're going to become sick. They're going to become neurotic. And it's going to affect their future relationships. So yes, this is a family disease. And the fear will really drive you, right? So that's what this reading is talking about, the fear. And about changing the way you respond. Now, it talks in here about the difference between responding and reacting. When you become hypervigilant and you become terrified and scared and you're on constant response mode, right? You're reacting. You react. You react when the phone rings. Oh my God, I'll get it. Let me get it, right? Let me get it. It might be her. Let me get it. It might be him. It might be the police. It might be the hospital. Let me get it, right? Everything is like that. Just, what are we going to have for dinner? I'll figure out dinner. I'll get dinner because I don't want to be gone when he comes home. And I mean, all of a sudden we're like puppets on a string, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It makes your heart hurt. If you are a loved one of an alcoholic addict, you know what I mean. It's tiring. It's exhausting. Being so afraid and so hypervigilant and so reactive. And so what I'm telling you is that when you go to Al-Anon or you read these kind of books and you're trying to do something different, you can see very well that your reactions, not only are your reactions not helping the alcoholic addict, they're pissing off everybody else in the house. Everyone can feel that kind of energy, that constant reaction, right? And like this reading says, sometimes I react with just being quiet. Now, my mom was like that. I called it pouting. I called it pouting. My mom, as a codependent, didn't act out like yelling at me. She would pout. And it was so harmful to her, right? She would clam up, she would be quiet, she wouldn't say, and she'd kind of slam things around. And there was this passive aggressiveness about it, and it upset everybody in the house, not just me. Me, I got to tell you, as an alcoholic addict, I could care less. I was like, whatever, right? Mom. It was just another way for me to figure out how to manipulate her, right? This pouting. But boy, it upset my stepfather. It upset my brothers. It upset everybody. It was like, oh my gosh. So it was non-productive. It was a waste of energy and time. And my mother was very unhappy. And when she found Al-Anon, everything changed. Everything changed, including me, right? So these reactions we have are hard to change. If whether you're a powder, and she didn't quit that on her own. She didn't even know she was doing it. And I didn't want her to quit because it was the way I could manipulate her. So she went to Al-Anon. And I don't think she even could see that in herself, but she could see it in the other people. There was a couple other powders in there, victims. I like to call them victims, right? She looked and she came home to me and she said, oh my God, these people, they're just victimized. They need to do something. They're just pouting. And I thought, oh my God, she doesn't see that that's her, right? That's why group dynamics are so important. Go to Al-Anon. Go to Nar Anon. If you have gone to an Al-Anon meeting and you've sat there, so many people tell me, you know what, I don't relate to those people. They're so sad, they just I don't know. It's just not for me. You know what? It is for you. You don't know it, but you are that person. You need to go to Al-Anon. You are so in denial. If you go to Al-Anon and you cannot see the benefit of that, because you can't see it in yourself, right? So my mom saw it in other people, and then she started to see it in herself, and she was able to change that. But the trick, like it says in this reading, is to respond. Don't react. Somehow you have to stop doing that shell shock reaction when someone drops a pan or a pen or the doorbell rings or the phone rings, right? I have so many people that tell me, oh, my son called. Block your son, right? This woman told me about her grandson, and it was scary. And I was afraid because she lives across the country. I don't know her. She's a follower. She's telling me what's going on. I said, listen to me. This is what you're going to do. He's now, because you're setting some boundaries and you've put him out of the house and you've changed your IDs on your bank accounts, he's pissed, right? It doesn't matter that he's your grandson. He's a pissed heroin addict, right? This guy needs to get loaded. I said, you're going to have to tell one of your family members, right? Tell them what's going on. Then tell a neighbor. If you have a good neighbor that's watching out for you, she's older, right? She's alone in the house. Tell a neighbor you're having problems with your grandson. Everybody has problems. Have them watch. Tell them, if you see this happen, please call the police. If you see whatever it is, they'll know, right? But you can't just pretend like he's my grandson. He's not going to hurt me. He's already said he's going to hurt you, right? If he comes to the door, don't open the door. Now, she told me the other day, I made a mistake and I opened the door. He started crying. And then she opened the door, bust in, starts rummaging through stuff. He needed money. He needed drugs. So scary, right? So I told her, don't open the door. Change the locks. Let the police know what's going on, right? Call the police. If he comes and you're scared, call the police. She grabbed a knife. I get that, but I also know that this woman if she had to stab her grandson, I don't know if she could live with herself. You know what I mean? Even though it was justified. So you want to set it up so that you don't want to be a victim, okay? You want to respond, don't react. If you've already thought out and you've told the neighbor and you've told a loved one, right? This is what's happening in my life and I kind of need some help. You're responding. You're taking some action. Reacting is waiting until he busts in the back door and wants to sell your TV for drug money, and you stab him with a knife. Not, you know what I mean? Not really, that's more reacting. You're reacting, and they want you to react. That's how they get what they want. That's how I got what I wanted, right? If I could get you in a position where you felt bad for me, I know this is hard to hear. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be brutally honest with you, okay? It's the only way I can help you. If I could get someone to feel bad, if I could get them crying, if I could get them second guessing themselves, if I could get them afraid, then I could get what I wanted. I knew it. And I figured I could always come back and tell them I'm sorry later, right? Because I really don't mean it. But I had to get what I needed. I had to do it. I didn't want to do it. Now, the hardest part about getting clean and sober, just so you know, is dealing with that, right? The guilt, the remorse, and shame of what we've done when we've been drinking and using is sometimes too much, especially for women with children. It's just too much to bear, okay? So it's a complicated illness. You have to just realize your part. Your part is you can't react from fear. You have to respond. And to do that, to quit jumping every time the pot drops or the pin drops or the phone rings, you have to start sitting still. This sounds so simple, but it's so hard. Sit still. Find a place today in your yard, in your house, whatever. I don't care if you guys sit in your closet. And be quiet for a minute. And realize, kind of close your eyes and realize everything is okay in this moment. In this moment, my alcoholic addict is just fine. Most likely they're loaded, so they're fine, right? And breathe. Big breath, big breath. And sit for a minute. Let everything kind of line up, okay? No reacting. Okay? Ask God, direct my thinking. Help me. I remember when I first got sober. Let me give you an idea of how this shift, maybe if I show you a little idea of this shift, it'll really help you. When I first got sober, I moved to California and I brought my car down here from Spokane, Washington. At the time, it was a pretty hot car. I think it was in the 80s. I had a Chevy Cavalier Z24. And I got down here and I was newly sober. And I was supposed to take my year cake. And I left my little apartment. I was down here with no family, right, in California. I had gone to treatment here, so I stayed here for my aftercare. And I went out, and this woman from the AA meeting was going to give me a little birthday party, and I got all dressed up, and I ran out to my car to get in my car, and my battery was dead. And I went into a tailspin. Every time I had car trouble, I felt just completely powerless. I hated the feeling. I'd call my dad. My dad was dead now, right? And I hated car trouble. Couldn't take it. I'm such an independent person and I cannot do this. And I had this complete meltdown. And I called my sponsor later and I told her what happened. And she said, Karen, I want you to get AAA. I said, what? She goes, I don't want to hear about your car trouble. I want you to call AAA. And for $44 a year, you get a card. And when you have car trouble, you call them. And I don't want to ever hear about it again. I called AAA. I got a card. I have been a member of AAA ever since. And I have not been victimized by my car situations. In fact, a lot of people have car trouble and they call me so I can go over with my AAA card and help them with their car. I went from being the victim to a helper. That is a shift of perception. That simple move sent me from being victim to being okay. Instead of reacting every time my car broke down, I responded. I had a plan. I called AAA and they took care of it. right? I know that seems silly, but that is what I'm talking about. That's the shift I want you to have today. If you are being victimized, and a lot of you are, I get direct messages and emails and texts, and my first thing is, are you going to Al-Anon? Right? You don't have to do this alone. First thing I'm going to ask you, all you do is pick up your phone like you're watching me, and you're going to Google Al-Anon near me and let it come up and see what comes up. Nar Anon near me. A lot of people love Nar Anon. I haven't been to a Nar Anon meeting, but I know I'm a fan. It's the same as alcoholics or Al-Anon for alcoholics, but Nar Anon is for narcotics. I believe it's the same thing. It's just, how it is. So everyone wants their own thing. Nar Anon near me. And you'll be surprised. There might be a meeting right down the street in your church basement. It could be right down at the community center. And you didn't even know these people were meeting, these people that could save your life. So you got to actually go. You got to actually, that would be a response versus a reaction. We got to quit reacting to these people, to people like me, because it's not helping. If it was helping, your loved one would be sober already. Okay? Their sobriety is their business. It's between them and God. They have their own life path. I know that's hard, and a lot of them don't make it. So how can I help you make it? And that is, you're going to start responding. Responding is doing what I said. Go in your closet, wherever, out by the bird bath in your backyard. Sit down today. Even if you are A-okay, I want you to try this. It's Friday. It's a good day to take a big, deep breath and ask God to direct your thinking. Be still. Be where your hands are. No racing thoughts. Stay in the moment. Okay? Another thoughtful response is Google Al-Anon near me. They're on Zoom now, so you can do it from your house. You can even turn off your video so no one can see you. Right? That's right. One of my friends that's on here right now is a big Al-Anon, person, and she is going through it with an active addict in her life. And she says, the only thing I can change is me. That's where the power is. And when you change, but the funny thing is this. What you don't know is when you change yourself, everything changes. It's like a little domino effect, right? It affects everybody when you take care of yourself. And so instead of directly trying to change somebody, change yourself and let them change on their own. Okay? So I want you to respond today. And to respond means to be prepared, to think, right? This is another little trick. Not everything you think do you need to react on. This is the biggest tool you can have. Listen. Okay? There's sometimes when I'm talking to people, this is such a big deal for me. I'm a quick responder. I want people to, I want to talk right away. So I will sit and listen. And the other day I was talking to this woman, and she was telling me about her health problems, right? Going into great detail. And my mind was going like I had all the answers, right? And I thought, Karen, don't do that. Don't do that. Just listen. And I sat and listened. And then she said, what do you think? And I just sat. And I sat and I thought, okay, just wait. God, direct my thinking. And she looked at me and she says, well, are you going to say anything? And I said, I'm thinking. I'm thinking. And sometimes you can say, can I think about that and tell you later? Right? You don't have to react right now. You don't have to say something right this second. If someone pisses you off, you don't even have to let them have it right now. Just wait. Just like I say, get off the stage. Watch the show. Don't be the show. Observe what's happening, right? What should I do here? You can see it pretty good with my friend's example about the grandson. She's scared. She's older, alone. So she is wants to react. And instead she needs to just stop. Be real still for a minute. Because most likely, and this is another bitter truth, if she stops, right? She locks down the bank accounts. He's not allowed in the house. And she stops and doesn't say anything, doesn't listen to him, doesn't, nothing, just quiet. Almost like you're in the jungle and you're hiding in the bush. They will go somewhere else. They need money, right? They need a place to stay. They need food. They need cigarettes. Oh, God, the list is endless for alcoholic addicts. They'll go somewhere else. They might come back, but if they need something, they're going to go. They need it right now. And their little Rolodex mind is going to go, okay, wait a minute. She's not answering. She's not going to, I can't get the bank account. Oh, Aunt Mary, I've got her debit card still. I bet you I could use Aunt Mary's debit card. You know what I mean? It's that's the way it is. And I know a lot of you, I don't know. It's hard. I know it's hard for me to talk about it like it's nothing. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. I relate to you. I know what you're going through. You got to take care of yourself first. You got to quit reacting to everybody and everything. Okay? You're going to burn out your energy. You're going to get sick. All this shit that's going on in the world right now. I know this is a long one today. All this shit that's going on in the world today will drain you and deplete you if you don't restore yourself. Okay? You can't be there for anybody if you don't take care of yourself. So you have to do that. Today's Friday. It's the 20th. I don't want you to react to anything today. If you have to respond, respond. If you can wait till Monday, wait. Try to do something nice for yourself. A cup of tea, right? A bowl of ice cream tonight after dinner, whatever. A nap. Right? Whatever it is for you, gardening, baking, whatever it is that's going to make you feel just a you thing. Today, take care of you, right? Let everybody else figure it out. You don't have to figure it out, right? Unless they're little kids, and then you get to love them. Okay? I love you all. We'll talk to you later. I hope this went well. It was a long one today. I had a lot to say about this. I love you all. And if you don't know, for some of you, I'm going to be doing a codependent. I'm going to take some people through the steps. I'm going to take them through. I've got a lot of people contacting me. It's a no charge thing. I'm going to set it up. We're going to do it fast. I'm going to do it with some alcoholics and addicts. And I'm going to do it on Zoom. And I'm going to get people through the steps, 12 steps. And I'm also going to do one for codependence. And I'll tell you what you need to get. You're going to need to get your Nar Anon book, and you're going to need to line up for your 5th step. I'll tell you exactly what to do. We'll do it on Zoom, and we'll get you through the 12 steps in 2 weeks. And I think it'd be pretty exciting. There's a lot of people that need help. So if you're interested, direct message me, and I'll give you the details. The biggest challenge I've had is I've got people that want to do it all over the world, which is like so exciting to me, right? I've got people in Australia and in Ireland. I mean, it's really unbelievable, right? That the 12 steps are working all over the world. However, the time difference is crazy. So it's really hard. Some people might have to get up in the middle of the night to do this, but that's just the way it is. We're just going to wing it. So I love you all. Thank you again. Take care of yourself. And remember, today you're going to do something for you. Ask God to direct your thinking. Bye.